who considers ranch a condiment versus a dressing?
Definition: a condiment is a sauce, spice, or seasoning added to food.
Okay, so what about a dressing?
What's the definition of dressing?
I would say a dressing is the same thing. I mean, but it's just you define it as a salad dressing.
The Venn diagram of condiment and dressing is actually just a circle.
I mean, people use salad dressings for all kinds of things. They use it for marinades. They use it for dips. I mean, it's not just salads also. So I would say maybe it's not the sauce itself. It's the usage that creates the definition of condiment.
I was going to say the use, because when you said it was a condiment, I agreed. But then when KJ said it was a dressing, I also agreed. And then I was like,
and we know that only one thing can win out.
Oh, totally.
We don't hold space for plurality on this show.
There's no such thing as two things can be true at once in this case.
You're listening to The Janchi Show, hosted by 3 Korean American adoptees diving headfirst into what it means to be adopted, Korean American, and more. And now, here's your hosts, Nathan, Patrick, and KJ.
You know what's wild about... Hello, welcome to the Janchi Show. You know what's wild about having friends online is, and especially adoptees, is you know so much about like very intimate parts about their life, but then you don't know basic things like what's your favorite color? When's your birthday? How many? Well, you might know how many siblings you have if they're adopted or not, but like you just miss out on so many things, which I guess that's part of being an adult and making friends as an adult, but that's also just like wild to me because like, you know, when you're young, all you need to know is like, what's your favorite color? Or like, are you into Pokemon right now? Let's play, you know?
That is true. And I mean, jokingly, also, I know we've commented about this in the past, but height difference is huge too when you're talking to people virtually, and then all of a sudden you see them in real life, and you're like, "Whoa, you're taller or shorter than I remember or thought." So
I have received that consistently since starting the podcast.
You're shorter than people thought?
Yes.
No, much taller. I realized you were being sarcastic, but for folks who may not know.
For folks who don't know Patrick, he's very tall.
But I did think that about both of you, that you were like, it just flattens your height doing stuff like online only. It's just everyone's height.
When it's just like, your shoulders up,
yeah,
basically.
I'm just like, I assume everybody's 6'1". So
wow,
when you guys
I appreciate
were
that
not
assumption.
That height, I was like,
That's
height privilege.
So generous of you.
Yeah, wow.
Never seen myself as 6'1" ever.
Yeah, I love being over 5'12".
You haven't even dreamt about being 6'1"?
I haven't even dreamt about being tall. Like,
that's
the place to do it.
Amazing. This is the Janchi Show. This is just right now it's just 3 friends catching up, but generally we talk about the Asian adoptee experience here in America, growing up, being alive, et cetera, et cetera. We often have a guest on the show and ask them to tell their story and talk about that, or we just rock it solo is what we're doing now. We call ourselves the Janchi Show because Janchi is a Korean word, which means to feast. And at the end of the show, we eat a Korean food or drink item. And then also we believe that throwing a feast means we're celebrating, and we just want to celebrate the stories that we share. So that's us. That's who we are. That's what we're doing here. Side note, I realized grammatically it doesn't really make sense to say we eat a Korean food or drink item. But fun fact, in Korea, they typically just use the word to eat for both food and drink items.
What is the word for to eat?
Mokda, or so like moko or mokoyo or whatever. Mokole is like, shall we eat? So like,
mokole.
You want to drink soju? You might just be like, soju mokole?
What do we, I'm trying to remember now because we have aprons that we were selling for a while. What did we have on that? I swear
that one was yoriheo. I think it was like let's cook, or yoriacha or something like that.
Or eat together.
Yeah.
I can't believe you remember what it said on there
those.
because I forgot that we even sold aprons at one point.
I think it's just because I was salty that it took me like a long ass time to ever get an apron. So I didn't go to con when y'all did the whole apron
we did
sale.
the video. And we did the video.
And I was just like at home. And everybody was like, KJ,
hilarious.
this is so cool. And I was like, yeah, I bet it would be cool to see that in person. Wow. Anyways, speaking of con, Nathan, you were just at con semi-recently. How was it? It was in your hometown. what was your experience? Were you just like busy all the time? Like, yeah.
I did do a lot more this year for sure than I have on previous years because it was in my hometown. So a lot more organizing, but we have a good group of volunteers. It ran very smoothly. The hotel was perfect for the event. I loved seeing all my old friends, new friends. Again, seeing people that I forgot how short or tall they were, but giving hugs. I mean, it was just a good time to catch up.
Went for the shoulders and just got air because they were shorter than you thought.
Yeah, it just was nice to catch up, and yeah, no, it just was a good time. And I did get to go to more sessions this year too. I felt like I sat down and actually listened to more sessions and met people who were speakers and speaking about things that I was actually interested in. Which in the past I felt like sometimes I'm too busy taking photos or running around organizing something that I don't get a chance to really listen. And this time I did sit down and participate in a few more, and I really enjoyed that. So.
Do you feel like you got to go to more stuff because you did more of the organizing on the front end, so you didn't have to do as much
during the
I
event?
guess?
Yeah, possibly. I think it's also because some of the same people have been working on different areas of the conference that it's kind of running like a well-oiled machine in a way, I would say.
Yeah.
That's good.
People know what they're doing. Yeah.
And so
it only took 30 years or however long you guys.
Well,
no,
I would
I'm
say,
just kidding.
I can only speak for the last 5 that I've been to. So, but it is steadily in the last 5 years gotten more organized, and even though it's gotten bigger. And then next year it's going to be back here in Denver again. So same location, same hotel, lots of the same stuff. It'll just be a new theme and new speakers. So yeah, we're looking forward to that as well. So yeah, cool. I appreciated seeing all the people there, meeting new people, and listening to all the performances and stories and stuff that I hadn't learned about. So
I had a lot of FOMO seeing all the photos and videos, and Rick was there, and I'm pretty sure he messaged me like 4 times in the months leading up. He's like, "Hey, you going to con?" I'm like, "No, dude, I'm not going to be there. Stop asking me and rubbing it in." Was there a particular like session or thing that stood out to you since you actually got to kind of sit down and experience it fully, or more fully, I should say?
I mean, a lot of the stuff that I have been interested in this year, I want to say, has been reunion topics, because I'll be going to ICA in October and visiting my biological family there again. So I haven't seen them I haven't seen some of my sisters and stuff in 10 years. So this will be the first time I'll get to see them again. And I'm just, I don't know, tackling some of the thoughts I have in my head about translation, about just expectations of what it's going to be like this time, because I'll be by myself, whereas last time I kind of had a friend with me for the first time when I met them. So it was a little bit more of like somebody I could talk to and have with me. This time it'll just be me and at the mercy of wherever they take me. And isn't
that how it always is with family? We're just at the mercy of family.
And I sometimes you just like, I'm just going to roll with it.
I'm going in blind, and that's what I heard recently from some other people who are in reunion too, that they say sometimes they have no clue what they're doing. They show up and they're just whisked off to someplace, and it's a common thing about planning that the biological families sometimes don't really give you as much information or heads up on what's going to happen, like maybe families here in America would do. Is like, they might ask you, "Hey, do you want to see this? Do you want to go here? Do you want to do that?" Whereas you go there, it's going to be, it's a wild card. You just don't know what you're doing. So, so we'll see. I hope, I hope it'll be good. And the translation is probably my biggest worry. And so that's why I got those Apple AirPods that we were talking about earlier, to try to use that translation service. And, other than that, I'm looking forward to being there, and also going to ICA for the first time. So
I was just about to ask that one too. I heard that the Meta glasses have Translate now, and it'll, like, I don't know if you saw the
do like live captioning and translation or whatever.
But he
That'd be
has
interesting.
Kingpin wears the glasses that does like
I
shows
saw
you the
Echo,
ASL.
bro.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
But I was like, bro,
Almost-
just learn it yourself. Even though I'd be using it for the same thing.
Yeah, if it's like your adopted daughter, basically, like you couldn't just take you're a rich enough person, you couldn't just like take the 3 weeks it would probably take for you to have like a working conversation with your daughter instead of spending the years to develop the technology. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But hey, I missed you guys being there. We definitely would have been nice to see you there again.
Sorry, sidebar.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to try and go this time.
Yeah.
Or not this time, next time.
Next year,
Since
yeah.
it'll be in Denver and all the same places. So,
Yep.
should be twice as much fun.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm saying. Should be twice
Or
as good. That's
it'll
what I
be
wanted to say.
half as fun because everybody will be like, didn't we do this last year?
Well, I think the thing, like, it looked like that space, one of the spaces that you guys were in, especially for like the after stuff, not your room, but it was like a big like bar like area
also
thing.
my
I don't
room.
know. It looked really cool, and I was like, oh, okay, this is like, and it looked like it was just the con attendees, and I'm like,
It was,
this is the kind of like
Patrick was like,
open,
there's a big
space
bar.
that you
I'm
need.
there. A big bar with
Yes.
adoptees. Sign me up.
That was a fun,
maybe not
fun
anymore.
night. Yeah.
Or you're
No,
a
that's
dad or
cool.
something. You're slightly more responsible now.
I am slightly more responsible now. It's hard.
Yeah, man, that's cool. I'm so curious because you haven't been to Ica before, right? Yeah,
No,
and Patrick,
I have.
you've been.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm curious to see like what your experience is because it's just like isn't Ica like a whole like order of magnitude larger than Con?
Yeah, they're capping it at 600 this year, and they're
almost
already
there.
already over 500. So it's going to be it's a big one. But we had a little mini meeting at Con of people who are going to attend ICA, and there was at least 20 of us. That got together and talked a little bit about expectations and stuff, and also what hotels we're all staying at and things like that. So, because it is a worldwide conference, so there are people coming from all over the world, not just the U.S. So, it'd be nice to know some people there and staying in the same hotels as well, so I don't get lost.
As the conference has set up, the hotels, you mean?
Yeah, which ones that they are closest to the activities and stuff.
Nice. I had one more question, and I think it just left me. Oh, the con theme. Sorry, we're kind of pinballing here, but the con theme is resilience and reckoning. And I know that you said like you appreciated just like hearing stuff, but what was like the main thrust, takeaway, I don't know, thing that hit you the most about resilience and reckoning? I think this is an interesting like topic, especially for now. But I'd like to kind of hear like what your thoughts were just on that particular idea throughout the event.
Gosh, well, I mean, obviously I can't speak for everyone, but as far as the theme that of resilience and reckoning, I heard a lot from people, about where to go next kind of stuff. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking for all that information like, we kind of all have been doing since COVID. A lot of people are still new into it and, a few years into discovery or going to events. The fact that we had over 300 people at Con this year, there were still 127, I think, first timers. So that again shows that there are a lot of new people out there looking for community or looking for answers or looking for just anything to latch onto that can help them and or get them what they are looking for. And I think that's that right there shows that there is a portion of people looking for that resilience and that reckoning, that we are still looking and that we are still growing and still learning. And so I really enjoy seeing those new people there because there's still a lot of people out there, over 150,000 of us. So if that's only 127 new people, out of 150,000 people coming to a conference, then there's still a lot more people to go. So
yeah, for sure.
Wait, what's the 150,000 number?
Of adoptees in the U.S., Korean adoptees, right?
Oh,
200, but yeah.
Over 200.
Well, that's
yeah,
total.
150 to 200.
Oh, is
total.
that?
Yeah.
Dang. Oof.
But see, that's the
I don't
thing,
think I
like-
ever thought about like 150 being in the U.S. of 200,000 total.
But that's and I think that's the other thing that I was just thinking about too. And I'm glad that you mentioned that. That's one of the reasons I wanted the clarification. It was just like, that's just like 90% Korean adoptees and then like a 10% mix of other Asian or maybe non-Asian adoptees. And like, that's just still like one part of the larger whole of people who have been impacted by adoption directly, specifically.
Internationally,
like being,
too. Like, not even
and
including
international-
domestic. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
And it's not just Korean adoptees. Again, for the people who don't know much about Khan, there were at least 30 Chinese adoptees. There were 3 Indian adoptees, some Russian adoptees. I mean, they're people, South American. Yeah, it's from everywhere. So, yeah, I'd be curious to know stats about the BIPOC conference that's happening in later this month in July. Because I know that'll be over in Portland. I'm curious about who's coming to that and who's attending and what their numbers are.
Yeah. Third one, I think.
Yep.
I appreciate you calling out that, like, the newness and even the newness of the journey. And even though, like, I feel, I'm going to say seasoned at this point, even though it's only been 6 years and many other adoptees have been on this journey for 30 years, so like, what do I have to say? But I do feel that sense of like, I've been around the block at least once. And I appreciate you calling out the new people. And that leads me to kind of what I wanted to talk about tonight, this podcast, because I was hit with an article on Instagram from the Korea Times that just like made me pause and reflect on, man, I still got a lot to learn, which I feel like has been happening a lot to me as a kind of Asian adoptee this past year. The article, I think I posted it or something or reposted it, but it just says, it's titled "How Korea's Birth Mothers Are Exposing the Hidden Cost of Overseas Adoption." And it's written by Anne Bertelsen, who she writes in the article, she is herself a Korean adoptee. And so, like, I really, first and foremost, want to appreciate that she wrote the article, that she put out that she is an adoptee, because I know, like, how personal it is. And basically, the headline, it's Korea's Third Truth and Reconciliation Commission crossed its 100-day milestone earlier in July. Earlier this month, revealing that 437 new cases detailing human rights violations and the overseas adoptions have been filed since February 28th. Tucked inside those numbers is a shift that demands our attention. For the first time, the voices demanding the truth do not belong solely to adult adoptees. They also belong to the Korean birth mothers left behind. And I, being young enough and inward looking enough, have obviously only really thought about myself and how adoption affects me. Obviously, for the purposes of this podcast, I've been thinking a lot about myself, and I've never really stopped to consider the birth mother experience from, like, beyond anything besides like my own loss of her, but never stopped to consider like her loss of a child. And the article, I just want to read a little bit. So she interviews a woman who gave birth to a daughter. The woman was told the daughter had died, and she hadn't. She was taken and given up for adoption. And she just writes, Lee did not fail her daughter. Her daughter was taken from her. And says, mothers were told what had happened and expected to recover and move on. It was into this silence, this expectation that mothers would simply accept what they were told, that fraud was inserted. A mother was told that her full-term baby had died. She had no body to bury, no ritual to perform. The silence had already been prepared for her. And grief without ritual is grief without sadness. Private, unverifiable, impossible to insist upon. decades later, mothers like Lee are still waiting for someone to acknowledge that what was taken from them was real and lasting. And just reading that and having some personal loss and things happen in my own life, like I have just, and personal joy of like having a child born, like just to consider all that means. And like I was just so grateful for the article to read that, to amplify these birth mothers from their perspective, and it just really caused me to pause and be like, man, I have been, I mean, not unrightfully, so focused on myself and my side of the story, and just like so ignorant of the other side of the story, and how that um, affects, all this. And I feel like we on the show we try to accept and like say like there are many sides to a story, and we're just speaking from our experience. And I just realized like my own blind spot of not ever considering what the other part of the story that I am a part of could be, and all that. So I don't know. I don't really have a question besides like, have you guys thought about it? And I also just want to offer, like, I fully realize we're three dudes talking about a birth experience, and there's a lot of like obviously just being a mother and a woman that we're not going to get, but specifically just from um, an adoptee experience, because for me, I feel like I create kind of my own mythology about the birth mother, about my birth mother. So she is like, much like a deity, she is known but impossible to know, and all those kinds of things. And so, but then just to, I think for the article to ground it and make her human again, and make her very real. Yeah, just give me pause. So, anyways, thoughts.
Well, I just wanted to affirm you in the sense of like, we haven't like talked about it a lot, maybe on the show or even in our own personal experiences, like over the last 6 years or however long we've each been doing this, because like
it's not our stories to tell per se.
Well, not even that. It's just like we have to go through this intense introspection of our own experience. And it's like we're doing a lot of recentering who we are and that adoptee portion of it, that until you reach whatever you might consider clarity or wholeness, or like a full enough understanding of yourself to be like, oh, okay, now I can start having a quote unquote nuanced conversation that involves other parts of this dynamic. I think that's really hard. So like, I don't know if you were feeling this way, but just as I was hearing you talk, I just wanted to be like, it's all right. Like, I think it's okay to approach it and start thinking about it and taking into consideration whenever you get there, because it does take time. I had an interview early on in Conversation Piece when I was filming it in person with the authors and the hosts of Adoption Unfiltered. So they are a 3-person team. It's an adoptee, an adoptive parent, and a birth mother. And they had put out a book under the same title that they all 3 wrote from their individual perspectives that I thought was really kind of eye-opening for me, about especially that birth parent side of it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, again, I totally agree. And I think we talked about it on the show, that is the one like pillar or part of the conversation that we hear the least from and about.
Yeah.
And I feel like after I had that conversation, after I started reading that book, I became very aware of how often in adoptee conversations, when we talk about birth parent, it's so often couched in the idea that we were given away, like, and
Right.
they gave us away, and
Right.
we don't have the full context. So like, but that's like the story we've been given. So this is like
Right.
really the information that we have to go off of. And it's just like, that's really, I don't think, probably always the case. I would say it's really
Right.
up in the air as to why that occurs. And what it's made me think about, what this article kind of made me think about too, is just like when we have those conversations and we think about, I don't want to say blame placing, but definitely like who we're kind of like looking at when we're trying to ascribe like fault. Like so often we get directed at our adoptive parents or our birth parents or who, like that part of the quote unquote constellation, that we miss like kind of the forest for the trees of like the systemic issue of adoption in general. And like at the end of the day, like everybody, including the adoptive parents, but to a lesser degree, but still them, are getting like, I want to say conned, but like, I don't know, like there's some level of harm that's being caused to all parties involved, because the system at the end of the day is really about money and less about like putting family, like creating family or whatever the case, like whatever the narrative is that they spin. Like, and so I feel like it's to that narrative point. I'm sorry, I've just been rambling on, but it's to that narrative point of being like part of the insidiousness of, I think, adoption in general is that the narratives they use to tell the story of adoption like cause us to look the other way and not ask the question about like, why is this even happening in the first place? Like, why are mothers specifically, but birth parents in general, being asked to like, or have to make that choice to begin with? Because now as a parent, like I don't own a gun, but I'll go find one. And if you try and come take my kid away, pop, like it's going off. Like, like that ain't happening. And like, when I think about it from that lens, it's just, and like make it like super personal, it's like I would rather assume that the system probably created that issue to begin with. Man, at the end of the day, that might not even be the case. Maybe I was just given away for X, Y, and Z, because it does happen. But I still think it's very, even to that like thought, it's still very systemic how you even get to that point in the first place. It's, poverty, it's economics, it's all the things, that push
religion,
you to have
philosophy,
to be there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely. All of it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, all stories are different. Some may have been truthful on the fact that they were, parents were looking for the best for their children, but they just didn't have, the money to keep children. But at that point, why were there, not more resources for parents to keep their kids? Why was the idea of giving a kid to another country, to another family, the best option? And I mean, I don't know. I agree. I think a lot of people do point blame at the parents, but then you also hear stories of like aunts and uncles, right, or sisters, I guess siblings of the birth parents, giving their children away without the parent knowing, right?
Totally.
And those are horrifying stories. Like I would never forgive, my sister or to if she or somebody gave my child away because they didn't think I was able or capable of taking care of someone. That's just like, my child, don't take my children away. And that's like you were saying, that you would like be defending your children, but these are like family members that are doing it, not just strangers or government agencies. And so it's a wild thing to think about those times and even the legality of something like that. How is a government agency saying, oh, you're the sister or uncle or brother or whatever, and you want to you want this child to go into adoption? Sure, where's the parent? And how is that allowed? How was I don't know, it baffles me on those things. So
well, to that point, like, so somebody made a post today, I think, on Threads, and it said something, the question was like, I don't get, or like, or why do so many people think that there are adoptions without trauma? He's like, or will they understand like there is no adoption without trauma? And like the whole point of it was like, when you separate families, like that inherently causes a traumatic experience that you can't just walk away from, like that lives in your body. And one of my like side thoughts with that was like, not only like, I think that's why like what you see happening with ICE right now, and you talked about government agencies, like literally legally sanctioned familial separation happening every day on our phone screens, off of our phone screens, like in our neighborhoods. Like I feel like that's why I see so many adoptees being like super empathetic and super like supportive of the families, but not like, but like coming out against like and speaking out against like what's happening because like we're so intimately familiar with the experience of like what
Family
happens
separation.
after you get separated. And so like it should never obviously take like something so extreme as like deportation and detention of immigrants or of people in general to get people to kind of like see. But still in that same token, if you don't have to go through that, something like that directly, like you still can't really like fully understand it. And I think that's one of the reasons why the narrative does what it does, is because like it preys on people that will never probably have to go through that directly. That'll always be the sisters, brothers, kids, friends, uncles, neighbors, kid who was adopted or who was taken by ICE. Like, or it's never like you directly. So the narrative plays in your mind like, oh, well, it's not really like that. And then you get to think like, thinking like, oh, I'm the expert now, or, oh, I have something to say about this. When in reality, it's like, well, not really. Like you can say it and you can be empathetic and compassionate too. And like, it's not, I don't know. It's just like you carry that with you, I think is like what my big thing was. It's like you feel that even if you don't even know specifically what happened to get you into a situation like this. Like as an adoptee, as a foster, as somebody who's experienced forcible separation from their family, like you live with that shit in a way that you just like seeing it on your phone screen, like, or on the TV screen, wherever you see it, like doesn't stick with you in the same way.
Yeah. And I mean, I want to say like, obviously this article is about the Korea Truth and Reconciliation document. And so I think it is specifically calling out that like injustices were done and highlighting within that framework, like this is a mother's story and there are other stories like it.
Sure.
And she is very generous in her own, so I'm just going to read this and I'll probably just put like a whole content warning at the top of this episode, but it says, I'm a mother 4 times over. One of my children died at 16 weeks in utero in the U.S. There was no viable child, but I wanted to bury the fetus to have a place, a marker, something to return to. That was not allowed. The hospital decided what would happen to the remains, and I was not a part of that decision. I did not understand then that the same institutional logic, the one that decides which deaths count, which remains matter, which mothers are owed an explanation, was operating here in Korea as well. Mothers were told what had happened and expected to recover and move on. And like, when you consider the systemic nature of things and like the U.S. involvement in Korea and all of that, that's a really tough read, And I think like to your point about the narrative about adoption, like the best case scenario is that your birth parents gave you up in hope for a better life somewhere, I guess in America, all like. But yeah, the best case scenario is super hard. And I've even been thinking like, because I was watching, I got Netflix again, so I was watching a K-drama. And one of the subtle things that this time I paid attention to is like rural Korea is not far away. And like we talked about in our last episode about how like K-drama means it's like it's acceptable to like export, to the rest of the world and whatever. And I think like something that the K-dramas do really well is they make Korea seem super high society, super developed and all that kind of stuff. But like the remnants of being a war-torn peninsula and the remnants of that are an hour outside the city, like something like that. And like the poverty and things that you might expect with a nation recovering from war are not that far away, not that far progressed, all that kind of stuff. And so like on the one hand, Korea has developed super rapidly. And on the other hand, parts of Korea have not developed super rapidly. And, so it's just kind of all of that is just kind of playing in my mind. And yeah, just really grateful for the article and just like entering into that perspective. Cause I think that that's not something that I've ever really thought about. Patrick, to your point, like maybe rightfully so, maybe that I like literally couldn't. But yeah, just like just wild to think about. And even Nathan, for you, like being in reunion with the family, but still not being able to talk to your birth parents, like it puts you closer. But I guess my question to you is like, do your birth parents still feel kind of mythological, if you will, like just because they had already passed before you could meet them? Or does having family who knew them ground them in reality enough that you're like, okay, I can get a better sense of who they are?
Yeah, I mean, to that point, I mean, I definitely, they are mythical still in my mind because A, I have not seen that many photos of them, and B, never met them. So I don't know too much about them. I only see, I guess, the resemblance in my siblings when I
Yeah.
see them and meet them, and find out that, oh, the reason, my sister, cooks this dish or something is because, my mother used to cook it or something like that. So things like that are passed down. But I never really thought about the trauma of my biological family until I met them. Because I was so, like you were saying, centered on myself meeting them and not necessarily getting answers, but wanting to know more information about my history and about my past. I think that made me in a way clouded as to their side. And then when I found out, like, that my mother's, one of her dying wishes was to find me, and that I was 3 years too late, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And that hurt me a lot.
Yeah.
That the trauma of that, knowing that, and then not, kind of the guilt of not doing it sooner. It hurt me for a while. So
Yeah.
But definitely something that I never realized. I never thought, oh, my mother could be looking for me because she's, I don't know, regretting the fact that she did give me up at a time when she couldn't take care of me, when she was such an, struggling for money, that there wasn't other resources and things like that. And her entire life, she probably wished and wondered, why did I not have those resources? Why could I have not done something differently? And when I did meet my biological family, they also blamed my father for bad business dealings and things like that. So there was some family issues, and so it wasn't. I don't think it was all on my mother, but at some point, you can only assume that the government stepped in and somehow, I don't know, convinced her that that was the best option. And you don't think about that, the guilt or the trauma that she had to live with for the rest of her life. And never knowing, because she passed away before, never knowing that I was reunited with the rest of the kids, the siblings. So
Yeah.
it's a tough one for sure.
Yeah, I think it's something that I was thinking about while you were talking or sharing that just there. First off, thanks for sharing that. I feel like is that it makes sense that there still be the mythology or like the imagining, even though you've reunited with biological siblings who had those relationships, that you're still hearing it secondhand, like the experience of them. And so, like, even though that gives you even like a better kind of, I don't know, a few more details in the idea of them, it's still not like, oh, I have this first person like vantage point, this painting, this image, this picture. It's more of a photograph, I guess, because of that. And the other thing I was thinking about, especially because I brought up the narrative, is like I was thinking about it really as just like, or so often I think about the narrative in kind of what we were talking about before we got on mic with Khan, being like the 150,000, like 200,000 plus Korean adoptees or whatever, and thinking about how it's just like, it is harder for international adoptees probably to reunite, but that's not necessarily the case because there are so many people who go through domestic adoption. So like it'd be maybe a little bit easier to go down that path. So I typed into Google, I'm like, how many adoptees reunite with their biological parents? First sentence, there is no exact number of how many adoptees reunite with their biological parents. It's two percentages here. Studies show that 65% of adopted teens want to meet their birth parents. Experts note that 70% of adoptees look for their biological parents at some point in their lives, which I thought, I don't know why I'm bringing this up, but I feel like it's just like, I feel like it speaks to it in some way of just like there's
You always carry it with you.
Exactly. And to like think about the number of people who were adopted who are searching on the flip side, like you were talking about, and learning that story about your birth mother, thinking about how many other like biological birth first parents are also searching. I didn't type that in. I should probably look that up. But let's like, it's just, it's messed up all around in the way that it's like handled.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like, even, I've kind of come to terms and accepted I think the truth in me that, like, I don't consider my adoption traumatic, but I, like, for sure would say that, like, being separated from family colors everything about my life. Not in, like, a traumatic kind of way, but in a way that's, like, there is an unmistakable filter that I always think about, like, whether it's how I relate to Korea from a cultural level, from a entertainment level, from a sports level, like, all of it, how I think about like the language, the food, just it just is always there. And especially having my daughter, like, it's funny, like, I can Nathan, as I was asking, as I was hearing you talk about your family, I realized the vision that came to my mind was like, imagine a family tree, but there's no trunk, and so you just get like your siblings and your relationships and all those kinds of things, but you're still missing like, whether you think about like the head of the tree or the trunk of the tree, like that thing is gone. And so, Patrick, to your point, maybe you get some more details. You're like, oh, actually, it was an oak tree and it had this color bark and whatever. Like you still don't ever have like that missing connective rooting tissue. And so like for me, I think these days when I think about my own family tree, I am very happy, proud even, I think, to like have it start with me and then go from there. But there is still like that very real sense of like, there's my adoptive family and I'm like also there, but like kind of my own tree, just like in the same tree farm, like
you're like a leaf that got blown from another tree. Like
it's a whole thing. Like I'm a
lemon attached to a lime tree. What do they call that?
More like an orange attached to a lime tree. Like we're in the citrus family, I guess, but like not even. Maybe not even. Maybe it's an apple and an orange tree. Do oranges grow on trees? Yeah, they do. Yeah. So like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's a weird thing. And I think like we always have to wrestle with that. And I remember learning like, I think it was from Korean Culture Dictionary, that like Korean names, like there's the family name, the first syllable and the last syllable, second syllable, whatever, and 3 syllables. But that like you can trace, I think it's the second syllable, like implies something about your geographical region, about like where in Korea you're from or whatever. And I think since learning that and starting my own family, I kind of love the idea. This is why I take pride in it. That like this is the beginning of like my version of the Kang family here in Dallas, Texas, and so like we begin to create, like, I think I've been like able to come to terms with, be proud of the fact that I am part of the Korean diaspora, and so like here is where I begin to plant my roots and we grow this tree from there. At the same time, again, in an effort to keep Korean culture around in the backdrop of my house, I've started playing arirang on the ukulele for my daughter. I had to like look up what the lyrics are because I know the melody and whatever. And I was like, am I even doing the melody right? And I know that it's important to Korean culture or whatever. And I learned that it's just kind of like, just like a very old folk tune, right? And that every like the Arirang mountain pass doesn't exist. And so every part of Korea has their own version of this. And so I was like, oh, yeah, now it makes sense. Like when Jordan Van Hemert records his arirang, that like that's his way of entering into like me geographically in the States as a jazz musician. I'm going to enter into this broad and ancient conversation about what it means to go through the Arirang Pass and, whatever. I think the most common verse is like, my lover broke up with me and I hope that her feet hurt before she even walks 5 miles. Like it's just like a very like funny, kind of folk song. But like, I think it holds unique space now in my mind and my heart because like here, again, like I can write my own verse, that it is real, that it's not even that it's real, that it's allowed, like, and maybe even expected in some way, that we enter into that conversation that way. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's interesting. And I, so it's just kind of all of that, just to begin to paint a more full picture of what it means to exist, have a family, think about the family that was taken from us, the family that we left, all those kinds of things. Yeah, but just like really, again, Patrick, to your point, like having gone through a birth, the thought of someone taking my child away from me, the thought of being lied to about the status of my daughter, the thought of like a government sanctioning the removal of my child from me or me from my child, like all of that is just so hard. And I think I fell prey to the narrative of being like 3 degrees removed from anything. And this article really put me into like, you're 1 degree removed. Like you are in this, and like from 2 nations, like this is very real to you. And I think I had, just because of my daughter's age, I was just like very focused on her. And now as she's gotten older, I'm able to re-enter the world and think critically about ICE, what that means about U.S.-Korea relations and history and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like I was going to say something, but like, I don't know. I think that was a good bow for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take a hard left turn and pivot into our final box of expired Korean snacks. So here we go.
Welcome back to the Janchi Show, food portion of our show. I said show twice.
Amazing.
It's my favorite part of the show.
You know what I meant. Everyone's here for that. Today, as KJ so eloquently put, that we are eating another expired cracker.
Is it expired?
Oh yeah.
No, it's not. Mine says 9/7.
Mine says
4/8.
I gave you the expired ones.
Maybe it's August 4th.
That's an older brother move.
Classic.
Keep
Mine
a good one for
has
myself.
not expired. I will let you know how it is. No, it is a sesame stick cracker, and we are confused about what it says. This is made by Haiti. Or Haiti.
Haiti.
Haiti's
Haiti's a country.
I looked at Haiti.
They did pretty well for themselves in the World Cup.
They make crackers. But it says on the front Sarubia, which we do not know what that means.
Yeah, so quick Google /translate seems to imply that it's some type of sage flavor, maybe Japanese sage flavor. I don't know, but it's a sesame stick cracker. The hashtags are sesame flavor, sesame stick, sweet and nutty sesame stick, and Sorubia. Yeah. So I don't know.
It can also refer to the Nope 03 Sarubia, an iconic rolling mine enemy tank from the Metal Slug video game franchise.
Oh, that famous video game franchise.
Or Project Space Sarubia, a well-known contemporary art gallery in Seoul.
Oh. Yeah. So, but that is the only other English on this box, except for another one that says best choice. So we'll see.
Best choice.
Hey, there's multiple packages in here, though. There's two packages.
People's Choice Awards.
So
2006. 46.
Nope, 2006.
Well, I had to drop one. It is a big biscuit-looking cracker. These are not like small Pocky shaped.
The interior packaging, they said, we are not spending money on colored printing.
Yeah, that is true. That is a very basic package.
We are going saturated or desaturated, I should say. These are bigger than I expected.
It is definitely biscuit-like. I would definitely go with the biscuit approach and not a cracker or Pocky stick approach.
I feel like it's similar to like a Pocky or Pepero stick, minus
a little bit. The stick part minus the chocolate.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or like what's the donkey sticks?
I was literally just about to say like like a Dunkaroo.
Yeah.
Or like the cheese, like the cheese one.
The cheese ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping it had more sesame flavor. I mean, it does have.
Ooh, okay.
A little
Here
bit.
we go.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that yours doesn't have a lot of flavor. I just chalked it up to being expired, but
No, mine.
It's just
my
it needs
unexpired
some
one
chocolate.
doesn't. Yeah, it needs a little more flavor for sure. Although it does have little black sesames in it, you can see them.
Yeah, I'm
and
getting
then
hints of sesame, but not an over
yeah.
or much.
But I'm not getting any
sesame.
sage flavor. Not that I'm super familiar with sage as a flavor.
I like the crunch though. I
It's
hope
got a
yours are still
solid
crunchy
crunch.
at least.
Yeah, they're good.
Um,
I'm sure for something like this, it's just like a best by date. It's not like a
Sure.
you're going to die if you eat it after the expiration date, like milk.
yeah. If you do, I apologize.
I don't hate it.
Yeah,
But I do.
I mean,
it is lacking.
it's
Stick it in some hummus and it'd be baller.
sure might be good with coffee or tea. No,
I really wouldn't
No.
want the sesame as a complimentary flavor.
What? Did you like sesame tea or that sesame drink?
No. What sesame drink?
Yeah, we did a sesame tea like in episode 7.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
So
I'm pretty
180
sure I have it on record that I
180
don't like any of the teas we've tried on the show, besides maybe one. Maybe that was the one.
I mean, I've had some black sesame coffees before, lattes and stuff. I mean, this biscuit cracker is very plain, which I think is good for. I don't know. It's like it's not offending me in like anything overly flavorful or it's just a snappy cracker, kind of a little bit of sesame. So I don't know. I'm jumping in. I'm just gonna give it like a 3 because I feel like it's like a little bit above average. Nothing like mind blowing, but it's tasty, and I'll probably keep eating the rest of this package.
I'm gonna
I
end on
agree.
this. Whoa, you're
You
on
go.
a 3?
Whoa.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 3.
Wow.
Wow.
So it started as a 5, as we learned recently. It started as a 5 and went down 2 points.
Yeah, because it's just like it needs something else that
Yeah.
would bump it up more.
No, that
But I
would
was
keep
trying to-
it at.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Bring it back too. No, yeah, you're right. Keep it at 5. If it was chocolate on here, I would be hard pressed to give it less than a 4. But it's just like a basic B snack.
Yeah.
What if it had like a flavory sprinkle, like a garlic parmesan, or I don't know, something like, you know what I mean, like
Yeah,
the flavor
sure.
dusting,
Yes.
like not necessarily
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah,
Like I said,
think
I would bump it up if it was a good dusting of something.
I can
Yeah.
get down with the garlic parmesan one of these. It's got a
Okay.
good crunch, so
Yeah.
and it's not like a hollow thing like I feel like Korean snacks kind of tend to be. It's like it looks substantial on the outside, but then it's just like air in the
Yeah.
middle.
You know what I
Right?
really
All
like,
right.
and I was holding
know.
these in my mind.
Seems like
I
a
was
weird
thinking
take
they
to
were
me.
going to be similar to sesame sticks. Do you guys like those?
Yeah, like more like
Yeah.
sticky. Oh, like didn't we
Well,
just have recently like a
Those
sweet
little
potato
like
stick?
sesame sticks.
Yes.
Yeah, those are good. But no, I'm talking about the little small ones that are like have a lot of sesame seeds in it, and they're very crunchy. And they usually put them in like not Chex Mix, but they put them in different types of like
like a pub mix or whatever.
like a pub mix, and they have these little sesame sticks in there. Those I really like. So that's what I was thinking these were going to be similar to. But
Yeah. Gotcha. I'm glad it wasn't like that because I think those are nasty. Those are my
Oh.
least favorite.
Wow.
Or maybe I don't. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've had like a beer nut mix or a pub mix or something like that.
Hmm.
I don't know.
I feel you.
Okay, well, straight 3s. Pretty average. Not bad, but entirely mid.
But not
So,
good.
I mean,
Just kidding.
I call it
is,
good.
but just good. Yeah. Not
Yeah,
bad.
I wouldn't.
Just good.
I wouldn't want to spend my own money on Get, but like, I would be happy. Even
you'll
like, yeah,
spend
sure, let's do
Nathan's
those.
money though.
No, if it was a gift, I wouldn't be
The
mad about
show's
it.
money.
which-
Wait, is it the show's money?
I think it's the
Just
Lord's
straight
money.
Nathan's contribution to the
It's
show.
kind of my money. It's just my money at this point.
I'm still eating them, so
Amazing.
that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I finished my first package, and fortunately, there is a second package to save for my wife.
I also shared with my coworkers the way that I rank or give out ratings, and they also thought I was insane. So you're good.
Vindication.
Yes.
Amazing. All right, Patrick, take us out of here, man.
We had a really great conversation. Thank you all for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, you can find all the rest of our episodes at JanchiShow.com or wherever you get your podcasts. If you have thoughts on the episode and you want to share them with us, you can send us an email to janchishow@gmail.com or go to one of those social media platforms, Instagram, the rest, and send us a direct message with your thoughts. If you feel so inclined because you really, really loved what you listened to, and you are on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever allows you to leave a rating and a review, we would love for you to leave us a rating or review. It really helps the show because it gets it in front of new people, I think. No, it just helps people that might come across it know why they should listen to it as well. I think that's it. We're 180 episodes into the show over 6 years, which is awesome. And I love telling people that because their faces go, and I'm like, yeah, I've been podcasting.
Oh yeah, how many times do you say, oh yeah, I've got a podcast, and we're like, oh okay, whatever. Then you're like, no, we've been running for 6 years, and they're like, whoa,
every single. I just had a conversation with somebody, and I was like, yeah, I've started podcasting in 2020. I'm like, we just released episode 180 something. They're like, oh.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I do this for real.
I told some people today at work, and they were fascinated, and they were like, "Whoa!" What, they were asking what it was about and all this stuff too. So it's, yeah. I mean, it is. I don't know. It's a cool thing, I think, and it's.
I think
still
so.
very,
and it keeps getting cooler.
It's still very valid. I mean, forgot to say we, you guys weren't at con, but there was a lot of people who did come up to me and for the first time that I'd never met before that they said they've been listening. So thank you if you are listening to all of you. So
yes,
that came up.
And it was nice to meet you on behalf of Nathan. It was nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you vicariously through Nathan. And if you are
Nathan
a new listener. If you are a new listener and you've made it this far into the episode, we are the hosts of the show. My name is Patrick, and I'm here with KJ Roelke and Nathan Nowak.
God damn it.
You have been listening to us for the last hour or so. And we appreciate you sticking through to the end because we like to have fun, even when we have some hard conversations. So, and no names. Some nameless, difficult conversations. But
amazing.
Yeah, if you want to find us, we have our individual platforms and places somewhere located within these show notes, I think. So you can go there to find those. And until next time, Janchi.
Heyo. Is it conceited of me that every time that bass run happens, I'm like, hell yeah, but I wrote the line?
No, not at all. I would think that every single time I heard it.
it.